You got to stop trading every single supply zone, every single demand zone. Not all zones are equal. Not all zones have the influence and have a reaction. Today, I'm going to show y'all which zones I look for before I start my trading day and how I enter the trades out of those zones. Let's just get right into it. All right. So first off, I'm going to show y'all why you can't trade every single zone, okay? Um, Really quick, I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of the markings that I have right now, and we'll mark it up as we go. So let's just look at this area right here. A normal person who didn't look at like a daily bias or nothing like that, who just learns supply and demand, but they just looking for minor breaker structures and stuff like that, will see this move. Okay, you get a pullback. This zone is semi-valid. You take it. You drop. You go back up. Most people would then say, hey, we got a supply zone right here. Okay, let me mark it up. This is your supply zone, right? You wait for price to go down. We waited for it to go back in and tap. Boom, we get our tap. Most people would see this as a reaction. Imagine this isn't here. Most people would see this, hey, there's the reaction, we going down, or here's my conservative entry. Here's my break a candle entry right here below this candle. And we went below it. We're about to go back down to these lows, or I'm about to get it. No. You gotta look at what has previously happened. The charts really do tell a story. You gotta look at where we're going and where we came from. That's all important. A lot of times I'm able to tell the story of the chart almost like a philosopher. Sometimes I surprise myself with some of the stuff that I mark up, and then it plays out all throughout the market, and you just hit and hit and hit all day on your trades, right? Hit and hit, hit. That's crazy. In this case, though, we get this move. Let's say that you enter short here, right? Let's say you go break a candle. You put your stop where? Even if you put stop here at the wick of this candle that you entered off of, if you put stop back of the supply zone, if you put stop behind this wick here, no matter where you put it, in this case, let's just say you go for a 1-to-1, you would have got clapped bad. You know what I mean? That's a 43-point stop loss. That's a lot of bread. You know what I mean? In any capacity, whether you trade just one micro, that's almost $90. Or whether you trade one mini, you know, that's a lot of bucks. So that's something I gotta think about. Now, here's how to avoid that. Here's what y'all didn't see. Right? This line right here. We'll just make a line on why we stopped there. Go to the bigger time frame, okay? In that specific day, if you look left and you mark out, here's what I do personally. I mark out my 1 hour supply and demand zones. Okay, I mark out my 1 hour supply and demand zones. Why? The confluence of a 1 hour supply and demand zone is much, much stronger than a 5-minute supply and demand zone. You want to know what's even stronger than that? A 5-minute supply or demand zone within a 1 hour supply and demand zone. I'm dropping gems. That's secret sauce right there. That's butter. That's whatever you want to put on your situation. So in this case, we go to the 5-minute, right? And we go and check and see, hey, wherever this 1 hour happened, is there a 5-minute in there? Guess what? There is one. There is a 5-minute. We mark it. There's a 5-minute. And then there's another one as well. This one we're gonna have to stretch it right. Let's see, how can I do that? Extend right. Cool. And then there's also another one down here. Okay. I personally mark both because we got to see which ones we get a reaction off of, right? As you can see here, this was Thursday, August 6th. We got a reaction off of that, but we didn't break, any of it. So in my eyes, it's still valid until we go all the way through it. So right here where that move happened at, where a lot of people would say, hey, this is a good time to take this trade, right? I would say no, it's not. Reason being, we just tapped into a 1 hour demand that has a 5 minute demand, and we tapped right into it. Right here in this zone was a good tap. This would have been actually like a beautiful trade. This is the zones you want to take. These are the trades you want to take, right? But we get a tap right here into this bottom zone. We go up and we continue going. These have a lot stronger moves than a 5 minute. So if I know the move that we just came off of was off a 5 minute and we're going up, I'm not thinking, hey, this 5 minute supply zone is gonna be strong enough for us to get a reaction and send us back down. There 9 times out of 10, there's no way. Think of it like a boxing match, and you got this heavyweight trying to fight against a featherweight fighter. This guy weighs 220 pounds, got one of the strongest punches in the world, and then this guy weighs about 130, and his punches feel like fucking sand or some shit, right? I shouldn't say sand. You sock a motherfucker with a lot of sand and it's gonna hurt. Anywho, in which case, after this move, we just keep going up, right? You want to know when we start going down? Watch this. You wouldn't believe it. And this was kind of my bias into today's trading. I'm gonna show y'all what I looked at for today's trading. Okay. Guess what? 1 hour, right? And mark it as such. There's my 1 hour, right? Go down to the 5 minute. Guess what? There's a 5 minute supply zone inside of my 1 hour supply zone. I mark it up, right? 5 minute supply. Just extend it right. So going into today, this is what I had marked out. I already had these levels marked out. Now, anything in between that, okay, maybe I could find a trade in there. However, I'm looking for these levels to play out, right? Pre-market today, you wake up, for me it's Cali time, around 4:20 a.m. I'm not on the charts at this time, but I'm watching. We go up from the previous time that we tapped into this circle. We go up to the next 5 minute supply. It's almost like ping pong. And I'm not saying that every 1 hour supply holds strong. Sometimes these get blasted through too, but most of them do. And they're pretty strong. We get a tap here. We get a tap here. Big of a circle. And we get a tap here. Okay. Guess what? We immediately get a reaction. Boom, 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 boom. That's a good trade. That's not a bad trade. You want to know why? Boom. Even if you go conservative, break a candle, however you see it, let's say you enter here. Let's say you put stop above there. You go for a 1-on-1. Eventually, it plays out. It does never hit your stop loss. You get a 55-point bucket. You know what I mean? Same thing on this side. We get a tap. It comes down. Let's say you enter here. Stop here. You go for a 1-on-1. Guess what? In the bucket, 46 points. You could have went for a 1-2. Some people go for 1-2s. 92-point trade. It's like art, right? Now, me waking up, here's what I looked at. We got one tap. I probably woke up and looked at the chart around this time, maybe around like 5:30. We got the second tap. I didn't take this trade. I wanted to wait for market open. My bias was we would come back and actually tap into this zone, the smaller one that we created, which for me gives a better RR because the stop is very small. I wanted us to get a pullback into right here. Boom. So this was pre-market. Market opened on this candle. I was hoping for us to go back up. Bam. Let me see if I can find that little tool everybody be using. Well, bam. It then go down, right? Bam. And I did expect us to come down here to my 1 hour and hit one of these 5-minute zones and give us a reaction. I didn't know it would give us this much of a reaction, but I did want it to give us a reaction, right? However, we never got this. Okay, we never got the pullback. It didn't drop. So guess what I do next? Because I know the story that the chart wants to tell me, it's almost it's yelling at me. It's not even whispering to me, it's yelling at me. I go into the 1 hour, bow, tap, we going down. We break this right here. So I know that all of these structures are valid. I know that we are now in basically a downtrend, essentially, until I see otherwise. I'm marking every single zone after that because I know that I'm just trying to find an entry to ride this wave down until something stops us. And the only thing that I'm looking for to stop us is a really, really strong 5-minute demand or a really, really strong 1 hour demand. For me, the 1 hour is pretty much what I'm looking for the most part, right? So I'm marking these because these zones are going to play a part at some point. Guess what? We never came back and tapped into the zone. We keep on going down. Mark the next one. Bow. Guess what? We got action. We got action here. You know, it's almost at the demand, but it's enough for me to make my money and get off the market. So we go, we get this green candle. Guess what? We break the green candle here. That means to me, this is now a supply zone. You mark it up. We immediately get a tap back into it. Okay. Now, however you enter this, that's how you enter. Me, I'm pretty aggressive in a lot of these trades because I want my risk to reward to be the best that it can be in my favor. This is a huge zone, right? This is a huge zone. So the better for you, the better it is. I enter somewhere around here. This is almost a 50-something point stop. However, I feel pretty confident in the trades that I plot out in the story that is being told here, right? Boom. We finally catch a break. We get in. Wow. Comes down and never hits our stop loss. We did get a little bit of drawdown in the mix of this. Come down, hit our 101 for a 55-point trade. I always trade one mini. I don't really know how much that is. If I pull out the calculator, I can't do math that well, but I do it well enough to be able to trade. So all that matter. $1,100 on that trade alone with one mini. If you trade one micro, what is that? $110 on this trade, and it's simple. So bam, we get our TP right when it breaks into this area of this zone. Okay, guess what's next? I'm more of a one trade kind of guy. Once I get my green day, I'm off the charts. However, after we tap into this green, I'm not about to just immediately take the green off of this 1 hour, right? We just had a strong move down. I'm not going to take this zone. I want to see something get broken first. I want to see a break of structure that says the trend is changing based off of this zone and that it is strong and we're heading back up, right? Guess what? We see that. We see it right here. So price moves up, it comes back down a little bit. That creates this area. Guess what? We break it. Boom, we break it right here on this candle. It gets broken. Once that's broken, that then makes this what? A demand zone. Easy peasy, man. This shit light work, I swear. This is now a demand zone. I'm almost basically teaching y'all reversals at the same time. This is a demand zone now, right? We go up, we tap back into it. For me, I want to see it react to the zone. So if we still in the zone on this candle and we didn't break up, I want to see, wait. Guess what? We start to get a break up. Once I see that happening, me personally, like I said, I'm entering aggressive. I probably would have entered like somewhere like right here, but you could have even entered break a candle. Let's say that you entered break a candle, which is right there. Your stop could either be below the 5-minute demand or below this area right here. Because if we break this, then guess what? That breaks the trend. So you could even put it right here if you want to, help yourself out. However, I put my TP based off of the demand zone. So my TP would have been, look at another 50-point trade. 101. Wow, something like that. And my stop would have been something like that. Guess what? We immediately go up strong. Once I seen this move and we broke this minor break of structure here again, I knew that even though we had this small minor retracement, we still would, use that as fuel to push us back up. We use the fuel, push us back up, we hit. Guess where I think price is going? You wouldn't believe it. Guess where I think price is going? Into this 5-minute supply that we never got to use. This is strong. Look at this huge red candle, right? This is a strong 5-minute supply zone. The bigger the candle that created it, or if it's multiple red candles in a row that created it, 9 times out of 10 really strong. We go back into it. Now, me personally, guess what? I'm not trading this. Why? I sound like a teacher, I swear. This is not me. I'm not no guru, by the way. I'm just telling y'all what I look at and what I see. I'm not trading this. Why? We wicked out of the top of the supply. That makes this invalid for me. Does that mean that I cannot find a trade? No. I want to see how it reacts. Guess what? We come down, we go up. Right here, we break this structure, letting us know that we are about to get at least a move enough down for us to make some muns, to make some money on. Where are we going to go? 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking either we go back down to the green or we about to test this demand zone here to see what it's working with, because this is pretty strong. Look at this move. This is pretty strong. So we're going to come down here at some point, right? We get this move into the 5-minute supply. We break this structure. I don't use this zone, so I delete it. Once the zone is invalid and it got wicked through, I delete it. I'm not looking at it. It's not a part of my trading situation now. However, once we broke this, guess what was created? Another zone. That one I can use because it is in fact valid. Now this zone was huge, but guess what? It's a zone, right? 5-minute supply. Wow. Come down. We push back up. We get a tap into it. As soon as I was seeing that this was wicking, and it created this huge half a wick and we were leaving that zone, I entered probably around like right here. My stop just above that wick. The 1-to-1 would have been based off of you could do either the wick, so you could have 1-to-1 like this. Wick 20-something point trade. I like to see where the stop is above the supply or demand zone that was created. So the 1-to-1 is more like this. And then stop here. It took a while to play out because of this. It was moving slow. You know what I mean? We wasn't getting that much movement. However, it hit TP somewhere around here. So for all my patient traders that could have been patient through this, guess what? You would have hit 58 points, risking 25 points. And that's good money. Guess where we went to? Y'all wouldn't believe it. I can't make this up. Guess where we went to? Boop, 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 boop. That 5-minute demand zone that was strong. Same thing. You do the same thing. You can repeat it. In this case, you can either get in off the 5-minute. Once you see that we get this break of candle, you can get in here, stop below here or here. Guess what? You would have ate. You would have for sure hit TP, right? But off of this move right here, bam, we get a touch into this 5-minute. That's where we going because that's the next strongest zone. The next one will probably be right here. We get a move. We get a move. Probably could enter something like this. On this one, you can go break a candle. 1-to-1. So, anywho, that'll probably conclude this video, man. If y'all have any questions or videos that y'all want me to make, please drop them inside of the comments. That is how I look at supply and demand zones. And just remember, once y'all get that, that's the easy part. Once y'all get that locked in, then it's all really about psychology and your rules and what you do after you lose. Because if you lose a trade and your first thoughts is, I need to make my money back, or, ooh, this is dropping down so quick, I need to get in these sales right now because look at how much it's dropping, or I need to get in these buys right now because look at how much it's going up, or, oh, I just lost because it went down, it's about to go up, so I'm gonna change my bias and I'm gonna just bet that it's about to go up, or vice versa, right? That's a gambling mentality. That's going against the feng shui or the feng shui, whatever it is, going against the grain. You can't do that. That's how you're gonna lose a lot of money. Stick to what you know, stick to your rules, and I'm pretty sure you'll make good money on here, right? So, and y'all have a good one. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and out.